This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. Well, Commissioner of Police Paul Roll says that police are prepared for the challenge of the lockdown on Grand Bahama. Commissioner Roll says he is confident that the manpower on that island with 600 officers on Grand Bahama. The chief of police added that there are 200 reserve officers, so there's no reason to deploy additional officers. When asked the plan for the lockdown, now there have been reports that there are law enforcement officers that may have been infected with the virus and in quarantine or self-isolation. When asked how many officers have been impacted by COVID-19, the commissioner could not give a definitive number. Exuma and Ragged Island MP Chester Cooper in the House of Assembly today urging the government to stop its jeers and start the plans, as this is what the country needs most at this time.
I invite you to get on with the business of planning and running this country effectively. We're not here to teach you how to govern. You've had 3 years now. And the Bahamian people demand that you get on with it. We're tired of the jeers. He went on and talked about what he called the leader of the opposition getting it wrong. And go on to talk about failures. The nerve of him to talk about failures. If you wish to talk about failures, we can talk about failures. We can talk about some of the more recent failures, like the decision and the management of the quarantining of the persons from Grand Bahama.
Mr. Cooper adds that the government treated the people on that island like lepers. And while he acknowledges the Prime Minister's apology yesterday, he says those actions do not reverse the psychological impact of the persons involved. He also labels the border policies in the country off the heels of the pandemic as a failure.
72 hours, you could make a quick trip, you could come back, you don't have to have an exam. We could talk about those failures. And then you blame the Bahamian people. It's contemptible. Your airline, our national airline, did promotions encouraging Bahamians to travel to Florida at reduced prices, specials. And then you come and you talk about how Bahamians may have irresponsibly traveled to hotspots. We got to get real.
Mr. Cooper adds that the emergency orders are supposed to mandate the Prime Minister to make responsible and justifiable decisions.
The orders allowed the competent authority to disband many of the laws and conventions, particularly in relation to civil liberties and in relation to the awarding of contracts. We've gotten no reporting on these issues since the beginning of the emergency orders, yet you come and you ask for 60 days more to the end of September. Very little accountability.
MPs debated and passed that resolution to extend the emergency orders this afternoon. Member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, Pakeisha Parker Edgecombe, urging Bahamians to be responsible. This off the heels of Grand Bahama and Bimini going into a lockdown. New COVID-19 infections have doubled since Monday alone. To date, Health Minister Renwood Wells said 3,759 tests have been conducted for COVID-19. Stay with us. Our final stories are up next.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.